wedding ring first. And I was like, you've never initiated anything with me ever. And I was like, are you awake? And she was like, yeah, I'm awake. But then she would just like sit there, and I'm like, are we having this conversation? And she wouldn't even answer. And you realize she's fucking asleep. No, she's not awake. No, but she just initiated sex with you. And I was like, so then when the next day when we woke up, I went to bed. I didn't fuck her. I promised to God I did not fuck her. I was like, no. And so the next day I was like, you jumped me last night, and you don't want to sleep with me. You think you're gonna go to hell if you do that. And she was like, yeah, I know. I do believe that. I didn't want to sleep with you, and I'm sorry that I did that to you. And she was like, what happened? And I was like, I think you were sleepwalking. And she was like, oh yeah, I sleepwalk all the time. And I was like, what? It's just like, yeah, for like 10 years I sleepwalk. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I sleepwalk. And I was like, do you think that you might maybe have sex with people while you're sleepwalking? And she was like, yeah, the boy that I wanted to marry, I did have sex with him while I was asleep. That's why I'm not a virgin. And I was like, oh, and she's like, I wasn't awake for it. And I was like, is there a word for this? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, and yeah, there's a word called sexomnia. It's terrible. They like initiate sex with complete strangers. It's a crazy psychological thing. It's fucking nuts. And she did that with me. And honestly, it was weird. She really wanted to fuck me. You could see it. She like mounted me the second she fell asleep. That girl wanted to fuck me. I think it had been in her brain for like 2 years or something like that. And she really actually did want to fuck me. She was like thinking about it while she was sleeping. So then she just initiated. She like got naked right in front of me, and I'd only ever seen her tits at the strip club when I'm avoiding trying to look at her because she's naked. She's my girlfriend. I don't want to look at her naked at the strip club. That's like cheating. I'm not paying her money for it. So then she like gets butt naked right the fuck in front of me, and I'm not gonna discourage her. I'm like, Monica, you are. Oh my god, I just said her name. Anyway, she was like stripping fucking naked. But yeah, she was like stripping naked, and then she jumped on me and she gave me a lap dance butt naked, and then began to start to put it in, and I was like, no. I got her off me, and I was like, wake up here, what's going on here, and she wouldn't wake up. She was just like asleep on heroin. And she went to go lie down, and she was bitching about how she didn't get what she wanted. She was like, I didn't get what I wanted. And it was just crazy. And you could tell the girl physically wanted to fuck me in her dreams, to the point where she was doing it while she was sleepwalking. But because of her weird Christian Christo-fascist thing about sleeping with somebody before marriage, which she had already broken before when she was sleepwalking, she wasn't a virgin. She was like, yeah, I sadly lost my virginity when I was asleep on heroin. And I slept with this boy that I wanted to marry. And I was like, okay. But she was like, I wasn't awake when I did it, though. I was nodding out on heroin. And she was like, I wouldn't call it rape because I was willing. I had been with him for a long time, and I wanted to sleep with him. But I mean, I don't recall sleeping with him. And she was like, I believe I was asleep when I lost my virginity. I couldn't believe she was telling me this story. She was like, I believe I was asleep when I lost my virginity. And I was like, no fucking way. Are you serious? You just like mounted him while you were sleeping? And she was like, yeah, I was so high on H that I just like fucked him, and I was asleep, and I was like not a virgin anymore, and I knew, and I was like, that's a terrible heroin story. And she's like, yeah. And so apparently I have like sex when I sleepwalk, but I don't usually jump somebody when I'm sleeping. It's like usually my boyfriend that I've been with for like 5 years, and he's in the bed with me or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, it came close to really scaring me, like it could be rape. I was like, like this could be rape. If you're not aware that you're like on top of me naked fucking me because you're asleep, that could be determined as rape, M. And she was like, no, I would never accuse you of something like that. It's not like that. And I was like, I know it's not. But it was weird. I was like, if you're fucking someone and you're not aware because you're asleep, there's all kinds of crazy problems that could happen. It was a nightmare. And my God, I swear to God, not a day goes by where I don't think about her naked on top of me, because I tried to bang her for 2.5 years, you know, but I was going to put a ring on it until I realized that she had fried her brain in an untenable way. She had like fried her fucking brain. She was not the girl that I fell in love with. She was a husk of a human being left. She was, I don't even want to say the things she was doing. You can just make an assumption, you know, just make an assumption. A stripper down on her luck who's now a heroin addict. Just imagine what all happened. And it did. All the terrible things that you can think that would happen happened, and it tore me up. Fucking watch. I'm still fucked up over it. Sometimes I think maybe I should just call her sister and get her number and see if she's dead, you know? But what that really is just some desire to go do heroin with her, because her disease is now my disease, and I'll have it till the day I die, you know? And I'm not happy about that. And I kind of hate her over it. And I asked her for it, though, so I don't hate her, like mortally hate her. I just don't think that there's a normal human being inside that body of hers anymore. There's just some twisted demon that's fried her brain and has nothing but neurological damage left where her brain used to be, and I'm surprised she knows her own name. It's that bad. And I miss her fucking terribly. She was like my wife. I miss her. The first thing I ever said to Cloud Candy was how much I missed Em. I was like, I haven't seen Em in 3 months, and she like is my girlfriend. I really love her. I've been with her for 2 years and 7 months, something like that. And it was hell every last second of it, because she has this terrible, terrible heroin addiction. I know she's out on the streets somewhere in Denver right now, but she knows that she knows that I don't want her using needles, so she's hiding from me. That's what I told Cloud Candy the day I met her. You know, it was shitty to lay that on her, but it was a life secret, but it was true. I was like, God damn it, she put me through a whole lot. It was easy to walk away from her that last day. It was easy. But I miss her terribly. I would have taken her as a wife. She was a loving girl who really thought about your well-being and was a very courteous person who had perfect etiquette. And for a stripper with a heroin habit, she was like the most not cleanly, excuse me, but the most like chaste person I have ever met. Deep down inside, she was like this. Maybe I have a biased view of her. Maybe I don't know, but who she really was deep down inside was this sweet little native, half white, half native girl from Alaska who liked everybody under the sun, who had nothing but love and would say hello to everybody that she met on the street, anywhere, didn't matter what it was. She was just like, hello, hi, how are you? And she would shake their hands like complete strangers and stuff, because she comes from a small town where they do stuff like that with like maybe 50 people or something. She comes from Ketchikan, which is not a fucking big town. It's, I don't know, how many people live in Ketchikan? Let's see. How many people live in Ketchikan, Alaska? And yeah, it's like 8,000 people. It's like, so she comes from a very small town, and heroin tore through that place and destroyed everybody. It's fucking terrible. They're all fishermen that do heroin. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, destroyed the native culture, and she's half native and half white. Her mother was a Native American and her father was white. And she is so beautiful because of that. She's this beautiful, 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 beautiful girl. Beautiful brunette with this wonderful mix of, like, I want to say Irish, but not really. It's like a brunette, beautiful, just normal white girl brunette, but it's an Irish sort of exotic look to her, and because she is, I think, Irish. And then she's got a mix of like 40%. What's the name of the tribe? I can't remember. What's the name of the tribe in Ketchikan? I can't remember what her tribe is, and that's shameful, honestly, that I can't remember. But I've got brain damage from heroin because of her, and that's why I can't remember the name of her tribe, and it's terrible. But she comes from a tribe, but she is a white girl with a rich white family who owns a fucking fishing boat, and which makes a lot of money up there in the Bristol Bay. And I miss her so terribly, but she fried her fucking brain on drugs. I mean, so did I. I fried my fucking brain on drugs. Probably about as bad as her, frankly. But I'm still here. She's not still here. Yeah, I can still conduct a stream like a frazzled crackhead. She can't even do that. And That's a requirement for me. I need my woman to be able to form basic thoughts together, or and even then I'm still sort of like open-minded to just being her lover and loving her, whether she's got a fried brain or not. I'm still open-minded to it. The problem is, I want to be able to talk to her. I don't want to love a vegetable for the rest of my fucking life just because she's got a beautiful heart and soul, even though she's a drug addict with a fried brain. I maybe should have married her. I maybe should have taken her off the streets and maybe married her, but she's got this fried brain. I think she would have married me. You know, I don't know. I think, I don't think she had anybody else. I think even her sister abandoned her. And I think she would have married me just on the fact that there's nobody else in her life. Nobody left. Like the man that she loved, he died while she was with me. And it wrecked her. It's why she descended back to the streets and took back to the needle, which is something that I can't relate to. I can't relate to the needle, but I can relate to falling down to the streets over and over and over again. And dealing with the system over and over and over again. And shit that she was dealing with. And like, I think sometimes, I talked to her sister last year and I was like, is she still alive? And she's like, yeah, she's still alive, but she's not the person that you remember. She's got a fried brain and she's got the heroin monkey on her back, the worst it's ever been. And she's a needle user now. And she's got 2 terminal diseases, we think, but we can't get her to go see a doctor, so we don't know. Her skin is scaled over, and she's just wandering the streets like some kind of lost soul. She doesn't even have a camp anymore or any clothes. She just wanders the streets like a lost soul, and she doesn't remember her own name. I was like, my God, I love that girl, and it's so tragic that that's how this ended. And I told her, I was like, I left her. This kid handed her a rinse, and he said, I don't know why I'm handing you this rinse. It's, I have the bug. How he said it scared me. He was like, I have the bug. I'm positive for HIV, and I'm positive for fucking Hep C. And he's like, I'm in treatment for it, and I will get you sick, and you cannot do this rinse, and you are demanding it from me, and you're acting like I'm not telling you that it's gonna kill you. But he pulled my arm and he pulled my shirt, and he like did this moment. He had a moment with me where he was like, she will die. And I was like, don't do the rinse. I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to try to take this from you. And she was like, don't try to take this from me. I'm going to do this rinse. And I was like, I'm sick. And she was like, I'm sick. I need to get better. And I was like, don't do the rinse. You're going to die. And she was like, no, I need the rinse. I'm sick. I have to. I don't know what else I can do. And I was like, I know what it is don't do the rinse. Don't do the rinse right in front of me. Don't do it. Don't kill yourself right in front of me. And I was like, and she was like, if you try and take this from me, I will stab you with the needle. And I was like, okay. That's how mean she had got. She fried her brains. So she was just this bitch, just a bitch. Threatened to stab you with a rusty needle full of HIV. And, that's not her. That's not who she is. That's not who she is. But she threatened to stab me with the needle if I tried to take it from her. And I was like, okay. And that's when the logic finally came after 2.5 years. I was like, nope, I'm getting out in this car. I'm saying goodbye. I said goodbye to her. And this is how I say goodbye to a lot of people, too. I was like, goodbye. She thought I was just walking off to storm away for that day or something, or come find her in a week or something like that. But no, I looked her in the eyes, and I was like, goodbye. And I got out of the car, and I never saw her again.
He was only able to get...
But I still would marry her. Because in there somewhere, even though she's ugly now, like honestly, the drug made her ugly. She reminds me of Cruella de Vil, because that's what she looks like. She's got like a stripper weave in her hair for the one time she went stripping this year, and it's bound up in her, or at least last time I saw her anyways, the weave is caught up in her hair, and it pulls her hair in a way that it kills her hair, so the hair turns white. So she looks like Cruella de Vil, because half of her hair is like dead white, because she's like this sick heroin addict with like hair that she's let like a weave become like mired up in the fucking cells of her hair and is fused with her skin because she hasn't washed her hair in 5 months. And she lives on the streets like a gremlin. And but she's this beautiful, beautiful girl under all of that. If you look, she's this beautiful, beautiful girl. But she's got scaly, junky skin. She's got freaky Cruella hair. She's got nasty skin now. It's like this baggy. It's not beautiful. She's not beautiful anymore. It's like this terrible baggy skin that's way too wrinkly and stuff. And she didn't look like that. She got that way fast. In like 6 months, her skin visibly aged like 10 years or something like that when she picked up the needle, and she abandoned me. And her like quote unquote dude that she wanted to marry died, and I can't even remember his name. He was a mark. He was a fucking buster. I hated him. He was such a buster ass fucking junkie. She loved this fucking loser junkie, and every time he showed up, he tried to hit her up for stripper money, and he got her high on heroin, and he can try to convince her to use a needle. That's everything. Every time we ever saw him, that's what he tried to do with her. He just tried to get her re-enslaved to something she was already slaved to. Just insane. I was like, don't go around this guy anymore. Not around me anyways. All he does is try to get you to use needles and fucking like lie. And he shows up and he tries to get money from you because you're a stripper. But he's like this dude with a car. He could easily go work. He has a car. Come to find out, he was shooting needles too, just like her. Maybe he's shared with her. We don't know. And he full-blown died of goddamn AIDS. He died fast too. It took him 15 months, I think it was. He was in the ground. I saw him like 15 months before he died. And he was a completely different dude. I would have wagered he might live then. But then he shot up something that was really bad. Some STD or something. Whatever it was. Syphilis or anthrax or whatever the fuck it is he shot up. But he shot up something that put him in the grave like 16 months later. And that wrecked her. When she heard from her sister that he was dead, she was like, I have been wanting to marry this guy for like 13 years. And that's what she said to me. She was like, I wanted to marry that guy for 13 years. And I was like, and she was like, he was the love of my life. And I was like, I'm sorry, Em. I'm crying with you. It's terrible. I'm sorry you're going through this, and I can feel your pain. And I met him too, and I didn't like him at all like you did, but I'm sorry this happened. And she cried for some weeks. She was like crying every day for like weeks and stuff. She lost her husband, and I was very sympathetic to that. I was like, damn it. I tried to fill the hole, and she abandoned my ass on the streets. She just left one day. She just like didn't warn me. She just poof gone one day. Where'd the 5'1" stripper go who's addicted to heroin who was just sitting here? She's suddenly somewhere else in the city. Her stuff's here, but she's not. She's gone. Her stuff's here. Her bags and stuff are all here. But the girl herself is probably off on some 7-day heroin binge. Who the fuck knows? She doesn't care about her stuff. She doesn't care about her clothes. She just steals more clothes or whatever it is. I don't know what she does to get clothes. It's just insane. I don't want to know. And she loses bags, something like one every week. She loses a purse every week. And then she sits there and she looks at you and she cries. And she's like, I lost my purse again. And I really, really needed that. I lost my cell phone again. I really needed that. I get a new one every week. But she's so high on heroin, she just doesn't remember where she is. She nods off and loses her purse, or she gives it to somebody, or somebody steals it, or something. And so all these junkies around her know that she has this stripper purse with money in it and drugs and tinfoils and stuff. And so you'll just catch her like out in the wild in a crowd of fucking junkies, and they're all hanging around her trying to rifle through her fucking purse that they just stole last night or whatever. So now she's got another different color purse the next day because every day or two she loses her purse and everything in there. Cell phones. She went through like 2 cell phones a week. She likes burner phones that are like $30 because she can like usually like bum money from her mother to go buy another burner phone, and then she loses it. And like she chucks phones. She was one of those girls that likes to throw phones a lot. And I don't know. She wasn't B word unless she was having some kind of drug psychosis. She really wasn't a nasty, mean person unless she was having drug psychosis right then and there from the bad batch of heroin that she just did. And then she would threaten and growl like a demon, and she would look like Cruella de Vil. She'd have this baggy skin that a 70-year-old would have, but she was like 33 something, you know? I don't like telling these stories, but it's just like, it was damage. It was damaging to be around it. It was damaging to learn it. I love the girl to death still. I really thought she was, deep down inside, a very, very good person who just fell on dark times, And I watched all these temptations. Like a couple of times I watched dudes who I really didn't like. They would walk right past me and they'd be like, yo, I'll drop like 1,000 right now. And they don't say anything other than that. They're just like, yo, I'll drop 1,000 right now. Give me a song. Or they'll say stuff like that. They'll be like, yo, I'll drop 1,000 right now. Give me a song. What they're asking is for her to go to a hotel with her and sleep with her for $1,000 worth of dope money so she can go buy like fucking 5 8-balls and die in a corner somewhere. And she says no to them. You would be surprised. You would think she would be like, yeah, I'll take the 1,000, go get heroin. But no, I watched her repeatedly tell dude after dude after dude, no. I would watch her say no. And I'd be like, don't you need that to be well and stuff? Sometimes I would even question her. I'd be like, I don't care what you do, man. We're like together or whatever you want to call this friendship that we have. But I mean, it's not like we're fucking. I don't care what you do. It's not like we're in a marriage and you won't fuck me unless we're married. So like, I don't care what you do. If you want to go kiss some dude or whatever, I don't fucking care. I'm not your boyfriend. I don't care. I have friends I could go kiss right now. I don't care. And she was like, no, I don't take offers from these men. I think they're sent from Satan. She would say stuff like that. She would like, I think these men are sent from Satan. I don't take offers from them. And I was like, you believe that, don't you? You won't take the $1,000 from him? We could buy like 2 weeks in a hotel for $1,000. And she was like, no, I don't take offers from these men. You'd be surprised what they say. They'll come in and they'll be like $5,000. And I'm like, nope, saving it for marriage. And she would say silly stuff like that. She'd be like, nope, saving it for marriage. Thanks for the offer. I'm flattered. And she would say stuff like that. She'd be like, thanks for the offer. I'm flattered. She did the same thing to me. I was like, you're a stripper. You take money from people to ride them. Could I buy a lap dance in the motel room and just see where it goes? And she was like, not unless you marry me. And I'm like, why would I marry you? You have a 3-gram a day heroin habit. Why would I marry you? It's silly. It's silly and it's sexist and it's shitty and it's really judgmental. But it's like, you have a 3-gram a day heroin habit. The habit that costs you $240. Why would I marry you? I don't have $240 a day for your drug habit. I don't have a drug. I don't have money for my drug habit. I barely have enough money for my drug habit. It's like, it's insane. So it was just like, yeah, you have stripper money, you can pay for that. Yeah. So, but there were like a couple of authors came through when she was really dolled up, and she would get dolled up for the club because she was a stripper and stuff. When she was really dolled up, they'd be like $1,500. They'd be like, hey, how much? They would just be like, how much? Right in front of me. They'd be like, $2,000 right now, hotel room. Do you care? They would look at me and they'd ask me like, do you care? I'm like, not for 2,000. No. I would say to him, like, not for 2,000. I heard offers like that. 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, shit like this. They'd be like, she would go in the club and she would be like, I'll be back in 3 hours and 15 minutes. Don't be late. And I'd be like, okay. And she's like, 3 hours and 15 minutes. Don't be fucking late. Okay. And she knew exactly how many dances that was. She knew exactly how many songs. She was like, 3 hours and 15 fucking minutes. I'm going to get sick if you don't get me out of this club. And you know what's going to happen if I get sick in there. They're going to fire me. And then we don't have anything at all. She would say stuff like that. She'd be like, don't let them fire me. Don't let me get sick in there. You got to be back here in 3 hours and 15 minutes. Write it exactly at like 3:10 in the morning. You got to be here. And I won't like you if you leave me here. I was like, okay, no problem. And I was her driver for 2 years. And the women that she introduced me to got me a lot of sex, but it was also sort of like, business. They were like clientele and stuff. And her sister was hot and she liked me, but we never did anything because I was in love with her sister. And, But I shopped her. I shopped her for a while. I shopped her sister because her sister is sane enough not to fry her brain. You know, her sister didn't fry her brain. Her sister has a good brain. I thought about her sister for a while. But she's got the monkey on her back just like her sister. I don't want her anymore. She's got the same exact 3-gram a day habit that you have to pay, or the girl gets sick. And there's nothing like a girl who's dope sick. It's the most desperate feeling in the fucking world. It's like you failed this woman who's going to die maybe unless she gets her fix, and you're failing her, so you're a bad junkie too or whatever. And that's the trip I used to go through with her all the time. Is like she would tell me like I might die if I don't get a fix, you know. And she believes this, but it's probably not true that time when she says it to you, but she believes it. She's like, I might die if I don't get something. And I'm like, okay. And that would happen a lot. She'd be like, I might die if I don't get something. And what she really means is she's going to die inside because she's so unhappy that she can't get dope. You know, it's effectively almost the same thing. It's not like dying physically, I guess, if she doesn't get dope, because but her temperament gets so bad if she can't get her dope that it is sort of like dying. She can't function, she can't move, she's knotted out, she's lying there, she's breathing, but that's about it. She's just breathing. That's about the only thing she's accomplishing, you know. And you're checking for that a lot too. You're like, is she still breathing, you know, because it's scary. And she would nod out, and you'd be like, she's still breathing. It's scary. Is she going to choke on her vomit while I'm asleep? It's terrifying living with a junkie. It's fucking scary. It really is. I didn't know about Narcan back then. I don't think they knew about Narcan back then. I think that was kind of a newer thing, actually. Maybe they did, but it wasn't common on the fucking streets. And I didn't hang around the shoot clinics or whatever where you could get free needles and stuff to keep clean. I didn't hang around those places because that's where the junkies went. I don't like junkie culture. I never have. It's this thing about excess and being dirty, and I don't really like it. I am a junkie, but I don't like what the things that it does to you. You know, it sucks. And so, like, for instance, her habit was tinfoils. And tinfoils are the dirtiest thing on the fucking planet if you think about it. If you think about it right. The ash that a lighter creates on a tinfoil, the black ash, it is the dirtiest dirt on the planet. It stains things. Black, 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 black. So I would come home and she would be like wonked out, like with her legs spread, like a fucking little gremlin, like who's just eaten like 15 pizzas or something. And her face would be wonked on the fucking floor because she was passed the fuck out. And her face would be all black smudge because she would pass the fuck out on a tinfoil that had black smudge on it from the bottom because she would just burn tinfoils all night. All night. She would go through 3-4 lighters a day sometimes. 2-3 lighters a day. I'm not kidding. Lighters are expensive too. Some of the problems about being a junkie who only smokes black tar heroin is you go through like 3 lighters a day at $2.50 a pop. If you add that up, that's a lot. That's $7.50 every single day for every day of the week. That is 7 times $7. That is $49 on lighters that you have to spend if you are a person who smokes black tar heroin on fucking tinfoils. That is $49 in lighters you have to buy every week, 200 a fucking month or something like that. And she did it because she has stripper money, you know. She would be like, take me to the gas station. I love the gas station. I'm going to play the hook machine at the Denny's, and I'm going to buy cigarettes and scratch lotto tickets, and those things make me happy. She was a very, very simple girl. She was a smart girl. She was a very, very well-read girl. For someone so beautiful. She knew a lot about fantasy and a lot of authors. She knew, I would mention these authors I thought she just wouldn't know, like Orson Scott Card, or like for Ender's Game, or I'd be like, have you read Melanie Ron? And she'd be like, yes. And then there was a couple of my favorite authors she didn't know. And when I was like, here's my favorite author, you might really like her. She is my favorite author. I think she's better than Lord of the Rings, and I'm not kidding. I gave her the book, and inside of, I think, 9 days, she read 15 fantasy novels from start to finish. No problem. And I was like asking her questions about and she was so high on heroin. She was wonked out on her fucking face with those tinfoils, with the smudges on her cute little face. And she'd be reading Robin Hobb novels that I would buy for her and stuff. I loved this girl. I really did. She was quite the personality. And she would be like reading some book, but she's like smoking heroin. And you're like, how are you reading 15 fantasy novels and smoking heroin at the same time? It doesn't seem like a normal thing. Why would a junkie be so beautiful beautiful and so intelligent. Why? It seems like such a dumb thing to do, to wreck your health with and all this stupid stuff. I kept expecting stupidity out of her because I was like, only stupid people wreck their bodies like this and fry their brains. But she's not stupid. That girl is not fucking stupid. She could do complex math really fast in her fucking head. I'd be like, I don't know, how much is 4 hours at $17 an hour minus the $30 we have to spend on the room or whatever. It should be like 19 or whatever the fucking answer is. I wasn't even thinking about the math because I'm brain dead. I've been up for a long time, like 16 hours now or something. But fucking, like, it's just weird. Like, you know, she wasn't a dumb girl, but she knew that she had fried her brain, and this was a tragic thing for her because she has a good brain. You know, she beat Dungeon Siege 3 with me when she was high on 3 grams of heroin or something like that. She played through Dungeon Siege 3 with me. First time, no, I didn't tell her how to play it. I didn't train her. She was too high. She just picked up the fucking PlayStation controller. She hadn't touched one in like 7 years or something like that. And the fucking nerd that she is, she geeked out with me on Dungeon Siege 3 of all games, because she is a nerd. She's like a fucking really beautiful fucking nerd, but she's ruined her life and destroyed her body, and she's dying. And it's just, she is dumb. She did kill her, the only thing that she had, which was her vitality, her health. And she beat Dungeon Siege 3 on the PlayStation 3 that I was borrowing from my best friend in this crappy, like, crazy house that we lived in, where there was like a fucking rapist living there who was dealing with the system for the rape. It was insane. We were living in a house and he told us, he was like, I'm a registered sex offender, which is why the rent's so cheap here, or we only charge $100 for rent here because I'm a registered sex offender. And it was creepy, and I didn't like the guy, and I was like, what'd you do? And he was like, I don't tell people. And I was like, I'm glad you don't. I don't want to know. I was like, you're not going to do that to us, are you? And he was like, nope. And I was like, okay. But, you know, when you have $100 rent and you're 2 junkies who need a place to stay, or they're going to get sick and some place to sleep so they can work and go get their fix, you'll do anything. You'll live with rapists. You'll fucking sell your body. You'll fucking anything. You'll do anything. It doesn't matter. I haven't ever sold my body because I've been too prideful to do that. But I've had opportunities. I've had offers and stuff, because it's just like, you know, they can see that you're sitting there and they're gay and they want you. And then they'll be like, you want to be gay for pay? And it's like, I'll get you a couple of grams of meth. And you're like, no, I'm not that desperate. I've never wanted to do that. It makes me sick. I'm sorry if I had any of that in my personality at all. But I know I'm going to throw up during it. It's not something I could ever stomach. I'm sorry. But you'd be surprised how many weird gay meth people would proposition me. It's not because I'm attractive. It's that I just don't judge them. I don't care who they are or what their addiction is. This is attractive to them. Junkies like it when you don't care if they're a junkie, because it's like, you know, everybody else does. So if you don't care if they're a junkie and you'll have sex with them, they might actually give you a swing that you might not think you would normally get, because they don't have the same dating pool. They don't have the same friend circles that they can go to. They don't usually have sex because when you're high on a large amount of heroin, you don't have a sex drive. You've only got nodding out. You know, you've only got sleeping.
Like 14 people.
And I don't know why I tell all these stories. It's just like, I miss her. I miss all of that abuse. It is a form of abuse. Watching her fry her brain in front of me, watching her shoot up deadly fucking, like, communicable fucking needle diseases right the fuck in front of me with a careless abandon, like she wasn't, like, didn't care to live or die. All that stuff. It was a form of abuse. It was the most fucking abusive relationship I've ever been in. And I never did get to sleep with the girl. And I don't like telling crazy stories like this. It's not because, like, I'm an incel or I can't fucking seal the deal. She looked me in the eyes and she was like, I really believe that I only want to sleep with the person that I want to marry. And she was dead serious about this. And she was like, my parents will judge me. My sister will judge me. God will judge me. She would say stuff like that. She's like, I will not take that judgment from God. I'll take it from all the rest of them, but I won't take that from God. She would say stuff like that. She's like, God loves me and wants me to be happy because he made heroin for me. And she would say stuff like that. And you're like, you're so crazy and dumb. You're not dumb, low IQ. You're just destructive dumb. It's like a low level of emotional intelligence, maybe, where it's like, yeah, your brain is worth something. Your body is worth something. You probably shouldn't fry it with this addictive drug. Even if you are addicted to it, you have to go get it, you're going to die. You should probably stop sooner or later. If it has fried your brain, you should probably stop. I'm okay with junkies like doing drugs if they haven't fried their brain. If they fried their brain, you stop doing the drug because you did too much of the drug. And I used to say stuff like that to her, but she's not listening. She's nodded out on her 2nd gram of heroin or whatever. It was like so annoying. And I've never met a more, like, she was Rip Van Winkle too. She slept like 16 hours a day or something like that.
Do you know how?
I was so jealous of her. She slept like a fucking baby all the time I knew her. She slept like 16 hours a day, maybe 18. Her plan was to sleep. She would get home at the hotel room. It wasn't to like watch a television, but maybe watch a television show for maybe an hour while she got high. She needed something to focus on while she got high. Always like a book, mainly a book, or she liked the crossword. She was really, really good at the crossword because she wasn't a moron. She actually really was like a fucking genius. She liked crosswords and stuff like this and puzzles and reading books and stuff because she wasn't a fucking moron. She really wasn't. It was what was so attractive about her in the first fucking place to me is she could have a really seriously intelligent conversation with me. It was no issue for her, no problem at all. She was like actually a fucking over the hill, like high IQ person who had the fucking body of a perfect 10 and the face of a perfect 10. I was like, oh my god, they don't make them like this. You know, in my circle, we have a word for this. It's incredibly fucking, it's fucking incredibly sexist. We have a word for this in my circle, my inner circle. We have a word for this. It doesn't ever happen either. And when it does, you put a ring on it. It's called the trifecta. It's when they're goddamn drop dead gorgeous. They're fucking north of 140, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. I'm talking about IQ. They're north of 140, and they have personality and like style, right? They're class and all that stuff. They have they're also badass. They got amazing personality, right? When you find all three, it's like finding a diamond on a beach that's like the size of a golf ball or something like that. Put a ring on it immediately. That's a sexist statement, but I mean it's like get a ring on that immediately. If you find what you consider to be the trifecta, put a ring on it immediately. I probably should have. She'd probably be sitting next to me still, but she destroyed her brain on drugs. So X to next, kid. I love you guys. Going to bed. You've been watching Skycatlive. I am a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Yes, I did date a girl for 2.5 years and did not manage to land her. It's an incel discussion, but it had to do with God. God cock blocked me on that one. God is great. Love you guys. I'm going to stop this recording. Bye.